Coming up on OU Nightly, a shooting at Florida State University leaving multiple injured. We have the latest on the suspect. 30 years since the Oklahoma City bombing, a tree that stands in honor. And what happens next for remembrance. Those stories next.
And storms are on their way, putting Oklahoma at risk for severe weather both tomorrow and over the weekend. I'll have the details coming up. This is OU Nightly.
It was just chaos. Everyone was like, there's like a shooter and stuff.
We know now the name of that alleged shooter. Several people hit by gunfire this afternoon on the campus of Florida State University. Sadly, there are deaths to report. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Abby Hollinsworth.
And I'm Hallie McPherson. We start with the latest on this breaking news. OU Nightly's Kevin Daniel is live in the newsroom.
According to officials, 2 people are dead and 5 wounded in the shooting. The alleged shooter, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, who was also shot. Eichner's mother is a deputy sheriff, and one of the weapons used is reportedly one of her official weapons. Officials put FSU students on lockdown earlier today, but neutralized the threat around 3. Police say they found a handgun on the suspect, as well as a gun in the suspect's car and a shotgun in the student union. FSU has canceled all classes and school events through Friday and are urging students to stay away from crime scene areas. Abby, Hallie, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. A teen charged with being a part of an Oklahoma Election Day plot pled guilty today to obtaining firearms and ammunition in a plan to commit an act of terrorism. According to the Department of Justice, Abdullah Haji Zada and a co-conspirator received 2 AK-47 style rifles and 500 rounds of ammunition to be used as part of an Election Day attack on behalf of ISIS. Their alleged targets included large gatherings of people on Election Day of November of last year.
We'll be following up on that story. And now moving into weather, it has been hot and windy outside today, but there are those potential storms moving here to Norman this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. OU Nightly meteorologist Brendan Jackson joins us live with how it's going to be looking this weekend.
Unfortunately, this sun is not going to last. We're in for a pretty miserable next couple days. The Storm Prediction Center putting an outlook out, slight risk going all the way from West Texas all the way up to the Great Lakes. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. A big issue here is going to be rainfall, very heavy rainfall we're expecting both Friday and over the weekend. That's going to be something to keep an eye on as well. Flash floods, definitely a possibility across the entire state of Oklahoma. Saturday, we're looking at another severe risk going all the way up across much of the same region. This just large area, elongated stretch of a severe risk that we're going to see. And as far as the rainfall, we could see over 2 inches of rain, up to a 70% chance of 2 inches of rain across central Oklahoma. I'll have more on that later in the show.
Thanks, Brendan. As we approach 30 years since the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, we are sharing stories of light. OU Nightly reporter Abigail Franklin joins us live in studio to discuss the future of the museum.
The museum is a staple in sharing the story of April 19th, 1995, and now a new project will expand on the story and look forward to the vital role that fateful day plays now and in the future.
In the heart of Oklahoma City is the sights and the sounds of the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum.
The side of the federal building has been blown off, Jesse.
It's been 30 years since April 19th, 1995. The museum now adding to the chapters of the story. Forward.
It's all about developing a more transparent connection between the stories within the museum and the outdoor memorial.
It's a play on words. Forward being a short introduction of a book. A short introduction to this very story.
So Forward is intended to introduce a larger context to the public, not just to what happened here in April of '95, but also to give the community an opportunity to step back and say, what have we learned over the last 30 years?
Hans and Tori were the architects on the Oklahoma City National Memorial. This time, they're coming back to add one last touch 30 years later.
We wanted to make sure that what we designed that would take some of this space felt very harmonious with the things that were already here.
It's more than just an add-on to the building.
Intentionally designed in such a way to better connect the museum with the outdoor memorial itself.
Inside this new addition, visitors will see the artwork that was once home to the Murrah Federal Building, as well as a civics and orientation room to shed new light on the events of 1995 and the lessons learned.
It is all about looking forward to the future and the future impact that this place can have. It has had such an impact on the community and the visitors who come here, and this is such an exciting development to know that it's still relevant today, and we continue to look forward and celebrate that.
Now, there is no timeline on when the project will officially begin or be completed, but a team has already moved forward with the design concept. Ladies.
Thanks, Abigail. Tomorrow we'll be live from the Oklahoma National Memorial and Museum, sharing more stories ahead of the remembrance ceremony.
The survivor tree is known for withstanding the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, standing as a symbol of hope in Oklahoma City for nearly 30 years. The University of Oklahoma is now home to a sapling of that resilient American elm.
OU Nightly's Olivia Hayes joins us live at its new home on campus. Olivia, you witnessed the planting ceremony.
Abby Halley, the National Memorial and Museum's president and CEO, tells me she wants this latest addition to the Gaylord College courtyard to tell its story of hope for years to come.
That's Gaylord Jr., right?
Leaves of hope waving hello to their new home.
Mr. Gaylord overlooked it, and he was a pioneer of journalism in Oklahoma City, and for many, many years, and certainly in 1995, that tree will grow and spread its branches just like we hope the students here will.
What some call a beacon of strength.
It symbolizes resilience. It symbolizes light. And that is what journalists do. We bring information, we bring stories to light. And so it's a great reflection of what we do.
A survivor tree sapling planting its roots in the courtyard of Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communications.
It is still such a part of Oklahoma and the nation's history. And we now have a piece of that here at Gaylord Hall.
Its importance not without protection.
So you'll be taking care of this new sapling?
I will. We did just make a plan to get another one. We will grow it in the greenhouse. If anything happens to it, we will have a replacement for it.
A new beginning, 30 years in waiting.
Now we're teaching a generation of teachers who don't know the story because they weren't born. So it really is up to us to keep the story out there and alive.
Now, Brad Dixon tells me that in about 10 years, OU students will be able to sit under this tree and tell stories of their own. Reporting live outside of Gaylord College, Olivia Hayes, OU Nightly.
Olivia, thank you. The remembrance ceremony for the 30th anniversary is set for Saturday morning.
Due to a severe weather threat, the ceremony will take place indoors at First Church in Oklahoma City. Doors open at 7:30.
In a case involving the Trump administration now heads to the nation's highest court, Clay Webster has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
The Supreme Court announced today it will hear arguments over the Trump administration's order to block birthright citizenship in the U.S. The president's executive order was halted by multiple lower court orders, which the administration now wishes to bypass. Trump wants the Supreme Court to limit the power of lower courts, allowing the U.S. to restrict citizenship only to children born of U.S. citizens. Oral arguments will begin May 15th. And a federal judge rules Google has a monopoly on internet advertising. An Eastern Virginia district judge ruled that Google built monopoly power in ad servers and ad publisher exchanges, which match websites with prospective advertisers. The decision comes after two previous monopoly rulings against Google, including the domination of their App Store and online searches. The ruling could cause Google to break up their $31 billion ad business. And more than 1,000 international students have now had their student visas revoked. Students from over 130 campuses across 40 states have been affected, with administrators claiming there has been little to no communication from the government. In response, a federal lawsuit has been filed in Georgia against several Trump administration members, claiming ICE illegally terminated over 100 foreign students' legal status. And President Trump said today the U.S. will be hearing from Russia this week about a proposed peace deal with Ukraine. Abby, Hallie, back to you.
Thanks, Clay. The CDC has pulled back grants to help tackle the current measles outbreak. Find out what this means for clinics dealing with the virus and what Oklahoma health officials say.
And recommendations for the COVID vaccine might change. Find out who could possibly be first in line for the shot. The second worst measles outbreak in the U.S. in decades has now climbed to 700 cases reported in 25 states. Cariana Gambo explains why scientists are sounding the alarm in today's Health Beat.
Scientists are raising concerns over the CDC funding cuts, saying they could threaten the measles response. The CDC recently pulled billions of dollars in grants used to respond to the outbreak. Texas officials were forced to cancel vaccine clinics, and New Mexico staff in charge of vaccination records were let go. Oklahoma health officials tell OU Nightly they don't anticipate cuts impacting our state. The CDC is also considering changing its recommendations for who should get the COVID vaccine. Right now, the agency recommends everyone 6 months and older get a shot every year. It's now considering a risk-based recommendation, meaning those over the age of 65 and anyone with compromised immune functions get annual shots. Another CDC study found autism diagnosis rates are climbing among children in the U.S. The study found 1 in every 31 kids were diagnosed with autism by the age of 8 in 2022, up from 1 in 36 in 2020. Researchers considered gender, race, and location. The Department of Health and Human Services says it's launching testing to identify the cause of the spike by September. And drug maker Eli Lilly says it's created an experimental pill form of GLP-1 to help people with diabetes. Brendan?
And as those heavy rains and severe storms are on their way, I'll have everything you need to know coming up next.
Spring temperatures are finally here. It's nice and hot outside, just a little bit windy.
But there is that potential severe weather this weekend, and it is Easter weekend for the ones who celebrate. Brendan, are the kids going to be able to get out and go Easter egg hunting this weekend?
You know, only time's really going to tell. It's not looking very promising, though, unfortunately. Now, let's take a look at kind of what we're looking at over the next couple of days here, weather-wise. We're seeing this low pressure sitting over here over the Rockies and this high pressure down here near Florida that are just kind of going to sit here and keep this flow moving up to the north and east and keep a lot of this rain kind of stuck in this area here. Unfortunately, that is directly over us. That's not going to move out until after the weekend's over. Now let's go down to the surface level and kind of see how it's going to look very locally. We're going to see these storms moving in tomorrow afternoon, right around 5 p.m. We see this northerly flow up here and this southerly flow down here coming in, forming a boundary right here, this front, stationary front that's going to kind of sit here and create lift directly over us, which is very unfortunate because it means that this rain is not really going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to keep rebounding and continue to fall directly over the state of Oklahoma. Saturday, we're seeing another round moving through. Sunday, we're going to see the same thing coming through again. Going to be a lot of rainfall, heavy rainfall, and we could see some flooding potentially. Now, as far as severe weather, we're looking at a slight risk. The Storm Prediction Center has issued this across much of the state of Oklahoma. And as far as the overall severe threats associated with that slight risk, tornado threat, not really there at all, actually. Hail threat, medium, and the flood threat is really what we're looking at right now. Unfortunately, now timing that out, going to be pretty late afternoon into the evening for much of the state. Moving down to the southeast is going to be a bit of an overnight situation here. Now, Saturday, we're going to be seeing much more down here into the south and east as the storms move slightly to the east. We're going to track that, but we are also going to see on Saturday a much higher risk for that flash flooding. Now, that timeline is going to be mostly in the evening. So We're going to be keeping an eye on this. Those storms are going to move out, moving into Sunday, going to stay a bit further east. We are still going to see some rainfall here across Oklahoma. Let's take a look at the totals throughout the entire weekend. We're looking at over 3 inches in Norman, 3.7 in Lawton, much of the central and southern parts of the state, at least at that 3-inch range. Unfortunately, completely different from what we're looking at right now. It's actually really nice out right now. We're looking at temperatures mid-80s for the most part. Humidity not all that bad, so it's feeling really pleasant. We're getting pretty hot up in the north end of the state, unfortunately. So we're going to keep an eye on those hot temperatures if you're outside. Could not be feeling all that good. Overnight tonight in the 60s. Tomorrow going to drop down a little bit into the upper 80s, or lower 80s, I should say. Upper 70s for the northern part of the state. And we're going to see those temperatures drop way down as those storms move through. Now, unfortunately, that is going to create a bit of a bad situation. It's not going to feel all that good. They're going to start rising back up moving into the next week. Sports is next.
Hello, I'm Brooke Griggs, and it's time for sports. Oklahoma softball just announced a schedule change for tomorrow's game in Oklahoma City. Due to expected bad weather, Oklahoma looks for redemption after dropping their series against Alabama. This is the first time the Sooners have lost back-to-back conference series since 2012. Oklahoma looks for a better outcome against Mississippi State tomorrow at 4 p.m. And second-ranked OU women's gymnastics is competing in the NCAA semifinals today. The Sooners face Florida, Missouri, and Alabama. Last year was the first time OU didn't make the finals in a decade after a surprising loss to the Gators in the semifinals. But no one is perfect, and in KJ Kindler's eyes, any publicity is good publicity.
It was such an unusual thing and so out of the box for Oklahoma gymnastics that people can't stop talking about it. We are the story. And in true story fashion, we will be ending on vault in the semifinals, which I think is an opportunity for us to put an exclamation point on this whole scenario. So, you know, right now, just feeling honored that people are so interested.
The OU men's gymnastics team will also compete for their 13th national championship title this weekend. The Sooners begin their first qualifying session tomorrow against Nebraska, Penn State, Air Force, California, and William & Mary. The Sooners say their preparation is what makes this journey possible.
There's other teams that may have more talent, but the reason where we're at is the work ethic, the fact that they buy into the system that we have, that things work out, you know, if you follow the plan and enjoy the journey along the way. So reward for all the hard work and hope that we have a really fun day competing.
10th-ranked OU men's tennis are advancing in the SEC Tennis Championship after rallying against LSU in Wednesday's match. The Sooners take on Georgia today at 5 p.m., and the third-ranked OU women's team look for the same outcome against LSU tomorrow in the quarterfinals of their SEC Championship. First serve is at 9 a.m. And then fresh off of a run rule win at the Battle of Bedlam, OU baseball is resuming conference play today. The 18th ranked team faces Missouri to kick off a 3-game series. The Sooners are 3-2 in the SEC series and will look to farther the gap. First pitch is at 7 p.m., followed by 6 p.m. Friday and 2 p.m. Saturday. Hallie, Abby.
It is pedal to the metal for OU landscapers as graduation quickly approaches.
Find out what they're planting before students spring into summer vacation.
I'm Elle Gedman following breaking news out of Florida State University, where a gunman opened fire in the student union today, killing 2 people and hurting 5 others. We're learning that the 2 people killed were not students, but the 20-year-old suspect is believed to be. Authorities confirmed one of the 5 victims is currently hospitalized in critical condition. The suspect was shot by police and is expected to survive. Abby, Hallie, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Al. We'll be continuing to follow that story in our newsroom as it develops. Here in Oklahoma, it is springtime, and we're definitely taking advantage of it.
Yes, Abby, it's that time of year where flowers are being planted on the South Oval.
OU landscapers are planting petunias, giving the campus a finishing spring touch before students leave for summer.
And fun fact, petunias come in nearly every color with unique patterns like stripes, speckles, and star-shaped markings. And Brandon, can you give us one final update on Easter weekend?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not looking all that great. Those flowers might all be for naught. But I will say, if you are planning on doing some family stuff on Sunday, I'd wait until the later in the afternoon because the morning is not looking too pretty. We're looking at those storms moving through early, but after that should be halfway decent.
Thanks, Brendan. And thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Abby Hollinsworth.
And I'm Han McPherson. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.